Alright, so today I want to pull out my ultrasound machine and I want to take a look at some of my female ball pythons here in the middle of the breeding season. I've actually had 4 clutches of eggs already this year that are up in the incubator. I've had some hatchlings hatch already that are in my hatchling rack. I have some that have eaten already 4 meals, and I kind of want to get an idea of some of these other females if they're going to lay eggs this year. They have a few more months before pretty much the end of the season to where we know for sure we're not going to get any more eggs. I usually start pairing up like in mid-October, and then like in early spring I usually see them ovulate, and then here in the middle of the summer usually we start getting eggs. So the kind of the number one snake that I really want to know if she's got some eggs in her is my big pied female. She is a really huge female. I definitely want to know if she's going to lay some eggs. I actually bred my fire pied to her, so if she lays a clutch of eggs, half of those will be pieds, half of them would be fire pieds, which would be my very first pied hatchlings, which would be pretty awesome. I have a couple other females that I want to take a look at too. So let's jump over and check out this ultrasound. Alright, so here is my ultrasound. I had to dust it off because it's been so long since I used this crazy thing. And kind of one of the things I wanted to check is to see if I have enough gel. You need this ultrasound gel in order to make it work. So I'm thinking I might have enough maybe for one snake. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if I could do all my snakes with the amount of gel. I just placed an order for some gel on Amazon. It looks like maybe we could do one snake with the amount of gel that I have. I totally spaced out that I didn't have enough gel. This is like the Spectra 360 electro gel that I'm using for the ultrasound. And this one I actually got over on Amazon. I'll put a link down below. And these are about $1,000 for something like this. And you don't really need an ultrasound. It's just really handy, let me tell you, to kind of figure out if where you're at in the breeding season. And this is kind of like a little laptop. This is probably the cheapest ultrasound that you can get, but it has a lot of different functions. It's like a little mini laptop version of an ultrasound. And then you just have like a power cord here, and then you just have a probe. If you're actually doing this for ball pythons, you definitely want to get the linear probe, the one that's flat up across the top. And then what you do, look at this old style connector that goes into the back of the ultrasound. It's kind of crazy. And if you're kind of wondering, this has a little like mouse ball right here, and then just a little on and off button right here. And then in the back, you just plug it in right here into the back, just like this. And it's like the old style connector on there, and you have the video, the VGA. I never use any of that. I just use the probe plugged right into the back and just turn it on. And then you just have to put gel on the probe, and then you're all set and ready to go. So I'm gonna actually pull out a snake, and we'll see if we can use this and check out the eggs inside that snake. Alright, so this is always kind of tricky trying to get everything on video between the ultrasound and the snake and the probe and everything. I think I can kind of squeeze it in there to where you can kind of see the screen. And the screen essentially is blank, so these ultrasounds, they don't work at all until you actually put some gel on the probe. And look at how big she is. She actually just shed, and she looks like, to me it almost looks like she could be in that could be her pre-lay shed, which means she would lay eggs within 30 days, which is pretty awesome. So that's a brand new shed that she just shed out. So we'll see if I can actually get any, I don't know if I can get any gel. I think this one is completely empty. Oh no. So we'll see if there's any in here. I was wondering about this. I kind of got low. I didn't realize I was completely out. I think there's enough in this one. And what I like to do is I like to put a pretty good bead right on here. And the problem is if you miss the spot on the snake and try to move around, you need more gel. So I have to be pretty good as far as getting that gel, getting the probe in the right place on the snake. It looks like I'm kind of twisted up here, so we'll see how this goes. And usually the eggs are like a third up from the bottom of the snake, so I'm thinking like right in here, and then usually you come up like right along the spine, right in here, and we can kind of see. Let's take a look here. It looks like, alright, so this has been pretty tough to figure out what is what in this. I've been kind of lathering this whole girl up, but I think right here This is the egg right here between the two eggs right here. And the eggs are so big that you really can't even measure them. So I can actually measure this on here. I can go to general, let's see, general, and then I hit set, and then distance, and I hit set, and I can go to like one end of this to the other, right here, and then from here, kind of do both ways up and down. So I think that's the egg. It looks like we're at about 33 millimeters for that girl. If those are eggs, sometimes it's really tough to actually see the eggs in the kind of the ultrasound. It takes a while to kind of figure it out. It looks like we're at 33, and usually they lay eggs about 45 millimeters. So it looks like this girl might actually lay, I'm seeing at least 2 eggs in there, so that would be pretty exciting if she actually lays a clutch of eggs. So to clean off this girl from the ultrasound, this is a water-soluble gel, hypoallergenic, salt-free. So essentially what I do is I just kind of wipe it off, and then I come back with a wet paper towel and just kind of wipe off the rest of it to get all the ultrasound gel off the snake. You know, some snakes will reabsorb their follicles, but I've only seen them reabsorb usually 20 millimeters and below. Once they hit like 30 plus, and this one's 33, only 10 millimeters to go, I doubt that she would reabsorb those eggs. So I can almost guarantee that this girl is gonna lay a clutch of eggs. So here's another one. I wanted to see if this is gonna lay some eggs. She's got her head underwater in there. I don't know what she's doing under the water with her head. I don't know if you can see that. Her head is under the, kind of in the bowl there. It's kind of crazy. So I'm gonna see if I have enough gel for this one. Hopefully we'll be able to get an ultrasound on this girl. This one has been bowl wrapping for like a month and a half, kind of crazy. This is my 100% het caramel albino that I bred with my scaleless head, 50% het caramel albino. I was hoping for some visual caramel albino scaleless heads, which could be a world's first. Let me unfreeze this and we'll take a look here inside this girl. I don't know, she's been kind of bowl wrapping and doing a bunch of stuff. I don't know if this girl is gonna lay some eggs or not. That's not good. That's not good. Take a look at this. This little spot right here, and this spot, and this spot, I think those are the follicles. Nothing in this one. So those are like super, super small, less than even 10 millimeters. Wow, that is a real bummer. I don't think this girl's gonna go. So let me see if I can actually, that's, yeah, I'd say that's like 5 millimeters, probably 3 millimeters, really super small. Oh, that's 4.7. That is still way too small. A lot of people, they don't even breed until they're 10 millimeters. She is at an average of 4.8. So I'm actually gonna kind of look in here again, see if I can see anything else. Just tiny little follicles you can see up there. Sometimes you can see the smaller ones easier than the bigger ones. Once they get really big, like big eggs, sometimes they're just so big and kind of transparent that you really can't see them. And then on the smaller ones, you definitely can see that the follicles are just too small. You can definitely see right there, tiny little follicles. That is a bummer. This girl is not gonna go. So actually I have one more snake. I'm gonna try it, see if I have enough gel to do this last female. It looks like I may only have one more female in this year, which is that pied, which is really a bummer as far as all my other ones. None of my other ones really look like they're gonna lay. So this is the only one that may have some hope. She hasn't been eaten in a really long time. So I'm gonna try this one and take a look, see what we can see in this one. Maybe. The trick is to get right along the spine and then right at the right angle in the right spot on the snake. And usually this spot right here, this big spot, if you can see that, that is the gallbladder. It means you're usually too far up on the snake. I don't think this one's gonna go. I think I see a little tiny follicle right in there. I don't really see anything in this girl. She's not really big enough. Oh, look at that tiny, a little, you can see, I kind of see like a little string of little tiny follicles, like right there, little black ones right in there. Yeah, it's really hard to interpret the ultrasounds because there's so much going on in there. But yeah, these are tiny little, I'd say those are about probably less than 5 millimeters. Bummer, this girl is not gonna go either. Well, you know the old saying, don't count your snakes before they hatch. Well, I just counted my snakes. As a matter of fact, I looked in the incubator at the eggs that I have in there and looked at the hatchlings that I have in my rack. And if that one pied girl lays, it looks like I'll have about 40 hatchlings this year, which is a lot less than I usually have. I usually have about 100. I think last year I had like 105, and the year before I think I had like 115, which is kind of crazy to only end up with 40. As a matter of fact, this year I've been having some pretty bad luck as far as the odds. And I actually hit quite a few normals, which is kind of crazy. Not really the best year, and it's weird. Breeding ball pythons, I'd say, is more of an art than it is a science. It's not like breeding dogs where you can just pair them up and you know you're going to get a litter of puppies every year. Ball pythons, sometimes you can, it's almost like feast or famine. Especially, I've even seen like professional breeders, really big breeders, sometimes they can have some pretty bad years, and sometimes every single female will lay and they'll just have so many eggs. It's pretty incredible. And this year is kind of an off year. It seemed like, you know, last few years were really good, and then this year was kind of the opposite as far as breeding. And it really depends on some of the timing too. I think this year, kind of the things that were working against me is I was trying to pair up some males that were just too young. They were 1-year-old males, and I should have waited another year. Some of those males I don't think were quite big enough. Some of them were over 500 grams, which they think is, you know, a lot of people say 500 grams is the pretty much the smallest recommended size for a male. But let me tell you, based on this year, I probably won't be breeding any 1-year-old males again. I'll definitely wait until they're at least 2 years. And the other thing is the females, it really depends on how many rodents they eat by the time they finish laying eggs, so the time they go back on food and then start laying eggs again. So a lot of these this year, especially if you have a really bad year one year, a lot of these females have an early start eating a lot of rodents. So if I can actually start feeding them pretty heavy from now until the breeding season, until they go on the next fast, I'll probably have a really good year next year with all these females eating a lot and then going into this next breeding season really strong. So that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.